Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, Kaustubha. Welcome to our show. We are here on the day after the holy festival of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaura Purnima. It's a special holiday for us. We had a whole featured show yesterday where we sort of drifted away from the Bhagavatam and got into this very, very interesting personality who, it's amazing what you can do in a lifetime. Either saints or avatars or just, cool people enter your life and how they can not only affect you, but affect generations and leave a legacy. So Chaitanya was that for, I was going to say for me, but basically for all of you and me and Kaustubha, but basically for all of you, because if you're listening to us, which a lot of people do on a regular basis, it's been inspired by Sri Chaitanya. So I want to give credit. It was celebrated by, how did you celebrate yesterday, Kaustubha?
Well, at home, we have our little temple at home. So we had our own rituals, our own pujas going on. And then in the evening, I went to the Bhakti Center.
That's why you didn't return my phone calls.
Well, I'll tell you about that phone call. The highlight of this festival for me, and it was beautiful. It was a very nice class. It was a very nice Abhishek. For those that don't know, it's kind of like a.
You can't explain that.
We'll go into it. But it's kind of like a coronation, I suppose, of Sri Chaitanya, the form of Sri Chaitanya, where there's a bathing ceremony. Anyways, it was beautiful.
The idolatry.
The idolatry was in full effect, put it that way. And but in a beautiful way. Our friend Brahma Muhurta is one of the priests at the Bhakti Center, particularly for these kind of festivals. And he's an artist, by profession. He's a photographer, and he's like one of these artistic photographers, right? Like he does.
Right.
He's not like any case. So it's always very beautiful. And Kadamba Kanana Swami was leading kirtan. He's great. It's like he gave a nice class beforehand. And I complimented him after because I noticed there's all kind of kirtan leaders out there. And even ones that I really like, they don't always chant. They just chant like in their own gear, but not necessarily according to the situation. Like if it's a festival and I walk into the place, I expect it to be festive kirtan.
Right.
Not like moody kind of, melancholy kirtan, which has its place in life,
Yeah.
But if you walk into the festival, I expect it to be festive kirtan. Now
He's pretty festive.
Well, he can be all kind of things, but what I noticed, he was so subtle that even I guess I'm going to have to explain a bit of what the ritual is like in the Abhishek, but the forms of Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda, and in any case,
when you say forms, you might as well just say,
well, what? Deity?
The deities, the dolls.
Well, if someone doesn't understand what it is, then saying deity doesn't mean anything here, because that just means
yeah, but if someone's just tuning in for the first time, they got to say, yeah, the forms of Sri Chaitanya. Wait a second. I thought Sri Chaitanya appeared a long time ago. Do you want to mean his form, his body? It's
okay. So any case,
we have a big range of people to the show.
Well, what it's funny. I'm going to just tell you this on air, Raghunath, but I've had some thoughts, and I've ran it by Carla, the consultant, and she thought it was a good idea.
What did she say?
Well, I was thinking that we do have this wide audience, and a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is they're not familiar with.
Oh, we should have a newcomers package.
Well, in a sense, a video that there are videos that go through different topics and really explain them in depth, so that they're clear.
You know what? That's a good idea.
Wouldn't that be
because
great?
I got a lot of people that say to me, matter of fact, in the last few days, I got a lot of emails that say, I really want to get into your show. Where do I start?
Yeah.
Do I start immediately or do I start in the old ones? And I always give some dumb answer. It's all good.
Okay.
But that's
the
a
point,
good idea. You might
yeah, a lot of times we talk about, like, say, the Vedas and the Upanishads and the Mahabharata and the Bhagavatam. Just have a 5-minute video that explains each one. And then, if we get into this topic or that topic, we can just say, consult and on the YouTube page, it can be a,
what is the Mahabharata? What is a deity? What is idolatry?
Exactly. Yeah, all those things. And then there would be like a playlist that would have like all these kind of introductory videos.
Some people hate idolatry.
Okay. So in any case, I would have to explain this now, but so metal forms of Sri Chaitanya that have been ritually, approached so that the faith of the traditioner and of the practitioner, and this is all throughout India, people have the faith that with the right ritual and the right devotion, God will accept your devotion in that form. So there are two metal forms. One is Sri Chaitanya, who is considered to be the avatar or the incarnation, you could say, of Sri Krishna. And then Nityananda, who is considered to be the incarnation of Krishna's brother Balaram. In any case, there's a whole esoteric philosophy about how this is Krishna and Balaram appearing in a very compassionate, merciful mood. And those forms are being bathed and with different honey and milk and
this is going so far out there.
I know, but in any case,
for those who know, this is like, oh yeah, of course, honey and milk, bathing forms with honey and milk,
different juices, all different colors.
Joe Rogan right now, they're like, what?
So
you don't understand how far this kite is left the string.
Okay, so I'm going to try to bring it back down. Down. So what it is, it's a ritual that's meant to draw your mind in a type of meditation towards God. And it's meant, so something external is bringing you to a certain meditation. And it's a very, all the aesthetics are very prominent in this. So at different times, there's a certain excitement that's going up and then coming back down,
Yeah.
And the whole point that I was trying to make was that he could fine tune his kirtan. Kadamba Kanana Swami, who was leading the kirtan, he could fine tune that kirtan. So like when something particularly exciting or beautiful was happening in this abhishek, in this ritual bathing of the deity, the kirtan would go up with it. And then the kirtan would come back and be more mellow again. And it was just like, it just took the crowd just beautifully, through these different moods in that. And I was very impressed. But the highlight for me was, and this is the kind of thing I'm, like when it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm a little, I don't know, traditional kind of like, when someone breaks out the acoustic guitar and is going to sing a Western style song, I'm like, I don't know, give me the tradition. But I had too much corny stuff out there that I just can't relate to or whatever. But what? You got a problem with that?
No, I'm sort of the same way. I like my East to be East. I like my West to be West.
Yes, but in any case, last night, two of our staff at the Bhakti Center, one was Minna, who I saw you speaking with on our way out the door because she was working behind the desk, right? Yeah. She sang, and her boyfriend, Alex, played acoustic guitar. She sang the song that, I don't know if the two of them composed or that she composed. It was a song glorifying Lord Chaitanya. It was kind of like this moody kind of acoustic thing. It's kind of like mellow, kind of dreamy. I would say dreamy is the word that I would use to describe it. And she sang this song. It was so beautiful. I was actually shocked. I mean, she's got a beautiful voice and just something about the dreaminess of the song. It was just glorifying Lord Chaitanya. Very simple lyrics, but very beautiful. I very much felt that being in Mayapur, being in the holy place that Lord Chaitanya is connected with. And I was and right then I was that idiot who left my ringer on my phone. And you called me right in the middle. I felt so bad.
During the acoustic song I called.
Oh man,
I called twice. I was like, why isn't he picking up?
I felt like such a jerk.
You were that guy.
I was that guy. But any case, I don't think even my idiocy was able to dampen the power, or, lessen the power of that song. It was so nice. We got to get her to record that song, and we got to share it with everybody here, because it was really beautiful.
There's a lot of good reasons to hate religion in this world. There's a lot of good religion, a lot of good reasons that people can be really upset with religion.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of wonderful things that a spiritual community can offer. And one is a get together on a holy day of just coming together with a good intention, with good people, to create a community, to look at yourself as part of something bigger, to look at yourself as like a speck in time, which does a lot for minimizing some so-called issue. Right? When I'm worried about some so-called big issue, when I see myself in eternity, it minimizes all that's going on in my life right now. To come together to sing, like singing is it's undervalued. It's very, very powerful just to come together and sing, where it's not like entertainment. Like her mood of that was most likely not entertainment. It was actually like a prayer. There's something powerful about that. There's something powerful when you can, put a pause on race, body type, gender preference, etc., and overlook all of that and just come together as well. There's something special that it has to offer by, okay, I'm going to bring my kids to something the adults are doing, not like, okay, the adults are going to do this. Kids, you do this over there, where kids are welcome in that too. So with all the issues that people have with a spiritual path or with church or with a synagogue, and I get it. I get it. We've been fed a lot of counterfeit in our life. But just because there's counterfeit doesn't mean there's not real or value or worth to communities based around a spiritual focus. So I think it's like important to like recognize that because, and I hear that a lot of times. People say, when you were in your band and you were talking about ashrams and Krishna, it all seems so weird. And it was weird for me to get into. I kid you not. I get email. I was about to say letters. I don't get any letters. I would like a letter. I get emails from people saying, I used to listen to your music 25 years ago, 20 years ago. And I tell you, it's like, now I have kids and I want to sort of give them something bigger than just, okay. I want some like sacred rituals. I want some like substance, something substantial, something meaningful. I mean, I go for hikes with them, I go for walks with them, stuff like that, but I'd like to give them some direction. And instead of just, what's the other religion in America? It's just consumerism. We're just buying stuff. Okay, we're going to go to the mall today. That's the center of it used to be the church was the center of the town. Now it's like the mall is the center. And I think that the Bhakti
Talk about a lack of depth of culture.
I know. If you want to get depressed real quick, go out and shop. Yeah. Because it's sort of like, okay, what can I get for me? It's the ultimate in like selfishness.
And the shops are all just these kind of, it's not even like people's individual shops. It's just these like.
Oh, it's like the same shopping you get in Beverly Hills and Louisiana and Scranton. Scranton is my favorite go-to random city.
Okay.
But it's like, it's all the same. It's the Gap. It's the Victoria's Secret. It's
all that.
Why do I come up with Victoria's Secret first? It's the one where I'm just like, you walk by, nervous guys or get nervous around that store. You walk by, don't look in. They're gonna think you're a creep.
No, but it's a great point that you're making, and that's someone shared with me once, and I don't know where this came from exactly, but the idea like what community is based around, how you get genuine community, and it was that people have to sing together, people have to dance together, people have to tell stories together, and people have to eat together, or even say like cook and eat together, right? If people do those things together, it brings them together. And that's what happens at these festivals. That's all it is. There's singing, there's dancing, there's storytelling, and then there's eating,
And it was great because during my 6-hour class the other day, sounds boring, doesn't it? A 6-hour class. No, it was a 6-hour class. We just talked. And, or I just What's that, Mary?
So nothing's boring with you.
Oh man, it was nice, wasn't she?
What'd she say?
She said nothing's boring with you, Raghu.
No, that's
It
true.
was it was 6 hours. Ethan said it's not long enough. But you know what? We took a break for an hour in between. So it was really 7 hours. And then somebody from the Bhakti Center, hey, we made all you guys lunch if you want lunch.
Oh,
I wasn't expecting that. I forgot about that. And there's something nice about the offering of sacred food. It's not just food. It's food cooked with an intention of love. This is what I was saying on Joe Rogan the other day. Food cooked with that intention of love is practically magical. And you can't quite understand it, and you can't put your finger on it, and you can't figure it out under a microscope. But it's real. It's tangible. So between those three things, the eating of the sacred food, dancing, and singing. Now, if you're new to the show also, or if you're new to go into an ashram in the Bhakti tradition, we dance. It's not line dancing. Well, sometimes it is. Sometimes
snake dancing.
But the interesting thing is, especially if you go to India too, and you see a bunch of grown men in their middle of their life, 40 years old, 35 years old, 50 years old, and they're just like recklessly dance. Like Kaustubha when we were in Jaipur.
Yeah.
Right. They're just carefree, dancing and being silly and just getting into it. And they're not drunk, and they're not to try to like pick up women. It's like, you don't see that. You don't see a bunch of grown men just dancing freely like that so much. So much.
Sometimes it's like before their work days even started. It's like
yeah. Sometimes like Mary's like before the work days even started, they're going to the temple at Govindaji in Jaipur, and they're dancing like carefree before they even go. Oh right, that's what I was. Oh, was it you think of that crazy guy in the suit?
Yeah.
Wasn't crazy.
No.
That's real. That's real life. He wasn't crazy like the guy with the suit.
Yeah.
Did I put that up? Did I post that picture? I think I posted that video on my Instagram, Raghunath Yogi. It's a
That
guy.
was a highlight. That was a highlight.
That guy lost his mind, and he's on his way to work. You know,
there's an older woman that was dancing first, and her thing was almost like more traditional. It was really far out and cool.
Like,
it was definitely very expressive.
For those listening on Apple Podcasts, you can't pick up those hand gestures.
But then that guy came out.
He came like at the full suit, 3-piece vest, briefcase. Put down that briefcase, and
he didn't have a briefcase.
He didn't
but he should have.
Right. He should have. It could have had a briefcase.
Yeah.
I add the briefcase for effect.
Okay. Had a briefcase, a beeper, and he had his cell phone out.
Yeah, but there's something beautiful dancing aloof to public opinion.
Yeah.
Because you're not dancing to please the public. And I tell you, all these people with all their different exercise regulations in America, gym memberships, I tell you, there's nothing beats like crazy dancing for the Lord.
Oh, Sri Rupa says she has a recording of that song sung at the Bhakti Center, and she's going to post it on Telegram. She says it's a low recording, but it's there. So
all right.
on our Telegram thread, can check it out. She'll post it there.
Well, let's dive into this sweet nectar.
Okay, let's dive in.
My Bhagavatam. So if you're new to this class, welcome. We do this every day on Zoom. Some of the new people join Zoom. And if you're just listening on Apple iTunes, we have a whole live Zoom.
Apple Live Tunes? I haven't heard of that
Apple before. iTunes, I said.
Okay, sorry. My bad. I'm the corrector today.
Yes, it's okay. Correct me. I need it. Yeah. Anyway, if you have any questions or anything, we're going to have question day this week. Write Mara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail. We promised. Last time we just hung out on 2 questions. This time we're going to move through it quick to make sure everybody's questions get answered.
We're going to do that once a week. Is that the idea?
Yeah, let's do it once a week.
We'll pick a day of the week, and then we'll just make that day all about that.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Ready? Let's do this. So we start with these opening invocation appreciation prayers. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should first offer obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya, bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timurandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text
9?
9, Mara? No. By the way, I really enjoyed reading with you the other day, Kaustubha, being at your house, and I'm coming back this weekend.
All right.
That was a self-invitation. I don't know if you that.
That means you're not bringing the kids down. Or does it mean you're bringing the kids down?
Oh, yeah, all the kids are staying in your apartment. No, I'm not bringing the kids this weekend, sadly. Okay, text 9. This is Uttara speaking. And
All right.
Uttara is pregnant, and she's about to get hit with a mystical weapon that is produced by chanting of mantras. Some mantras can give you transcendence. The Maha mantra, the greatest mantra, give you actually transcendence, help you connect with what you are underneath your body. Some mantras give wealth. There's Lakshmi mantras. There is, I wanted to answer, that guy asked a question about the Lakshmi mantras. He said, I was chanting a Lakshmi mantra and I got money. What do you think about that? Anyway, so there's some mantras that give you wealth. You know, if you hang out in India, in circles in India, there are mantras for healing, for snake bite, for jaundice.
Gout.
Gout mantras. There's all different material mantras for material benefits. Then there's mantras that are curses. Person chants a mantra as a curse, almost like a curse. And then there's mantras that are used in warfare. And those mantras are given by higher beings, and they're only given with discernment. Now, sometimes a child has special access to what the father has. You know, like some kid shows up as a junior in high school, and he shows up in a sports car. He's like, it's my dad's car. He collects cars. So sometimes if your father's into like something cool, you get that, you know. So Ashwatthama, not super qualified in a lot of ways. Interesting person.
Well, was that was he, and just because of the extreme situation, this lower nature came out? Or was there something previous to that indicated?
Well, he was called Brahmana Bandhu, not quite a Brahmana.
But was that only after this?
And he did get cursed. Where's Rocco? He knows this curse. He did get cursed.
But was that after this act?
I'm going to have to bust out my Ashwatthama.
Okay, because I can't recall anything about him previous to this that was less than noble.
He was born with a jewel on his head, which protected him from all ill occurrences and danger from wild animals.
Okay. Well, you see, that's special right there.
That's special. It's not necessarily spiritual. It's just sort of interesting and mystical.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was put in, all right, whatever. We'll just give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
He was born, but his father never fully gave him the weapon, because to really give somebody something, you have to teach them the mantras to retract the weapon just in case, right? You can't just teach a person how to take off a plane. You got to teach them how to land that plane.
And before you give someone that weapon, you have to trust their character that they're not going to misuse it.
That's why. And that's an important thing about receiving any gift from a teacher in a Vedic science that's good. You have to teach them dharma behind it, which is why you have yamas and niyamas as the original rungs of the yogic ladder. We're not going to teach you
Mhm.
meditation. We're not going to teach you mystic powers. We're not going to teach you how to control your breath. We're not going to teach that until, and the same with any martial skill. Who wants to teach martial arts to a bunch of knuckleheads that are
Right.
going to go out and use it for rage and kicking people's butts?
Yeah.
You want to teach martial arts to people who have an attitude of kindness, of self-control, of dignity, of, they're not going to just be filled with rage.
That's such a great, there are these, I don't know, you'll see played out in different kinds of, I don't know, films or stories or whatever, that there's a guru and then the guru kind of tests the disciple, right?
Maybe it's called the Karate Kid. You might have seen it.
The Karate Kid, but
The
stuff
good
like that,
movie.
right? Yeah, a lot of times it has to do with martial arts, right? And the guru is like this kind of very stern, almost appears to be almost like too much, like how
Right.
but then the disciple through loyalty and this word will sound may rub the ears wrong or something, but submission,
Submission.
yeah,
Listen to Guru.
through steadiness, and they prove themselves to the guru. They prove their worth and their seriousness with which they're receiving this knowledge. And then the guru opens up and begins to share something that's special and precious that they'll only entrust to someone.
They're
who's
testing.
kind
They're
of proven
testing the
themselves.
sincerity, right?
Yeah, so that should be there, that should be there. It said that the guru tests the disciple and the disciple tests the guru, We're back on gurus again, but this is how it's practiced, It's in the yoga world, these things aren't talked about, but if you go back to these texts, you read Bhagavatam, read Gita. For instance, in the Bhagavad-gita, there's a very famous verse, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam. Raghu? Yeah, so that's text 434 in the Bhagavad Gita. Now that verse, it talks about how one receives transcendental knowledge, right? And it says that you approach someone who has it, right? But then it says, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, that you ask them relevant questions, but then sevaya, and that you serve them, right? With humility, you serve them. That for the knowledge to pass from one to the next, it's not just academic, but it has to do with the attitude. And so there is a submission, actually, that let me serve you. I respect you. I appreciate what you're doing. Let me take my independence. Let me take my time. Let me take my body. Let me take my energy and dedicate it towards you through service. And through that attitude, through that disposition, it becomes like fertile ground to plant the seed of transcendental knowledge.
Yep. That's the magic trick in the discussion. As soon as the person becomes, and that's the trick, that's what happened in the Gita when Arjuna finally said, I'm a soul surrendered unto you, please instruct me. Once you take yourself off the even platform, like he's my buddy, and you say, I want to understand, you just become open to hearing. Something happens and it can all start to pour in. This is the thing about our whole culture. It's all about a culture of hearing, submissively hearing. You can hear and you can question, but you're not like a challenging, arrogant. I was saying in class the other day, it's like, I don't talk to anybody about anything. If they don't want, I don't share anything unless they want to know it, or else people don't want to hear it. It doesn't stick anyway. If people want to know something, we have something valuable and we'll share it. But if people don't want to know it, I'll even be your friend, but I'm not going to share it with you unless you're inquisitive. And if you are into like teaching other people, don't teach it if people don't want to hear it. Because they become, just like we were joking about when you come back from India and you're inspired and you're like, oh my God, wait till I tell everybody about this. They're all like, you're crazy. They're not inspired. They think you just lost your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, there I says, Joe A says, I remember from an earlier episode, you said you never give unsolicited advice. It's good. I don't want to hear unsolicited advice and I don't want to give unsolicited advice. It's annoying When people come, hey, let me tell you what you should do with your life. It's like, what the hell? Come on. That's how you like lose friends quick. Break up relationships. Start giving people advice. Okay. Where are we, Kaustubha? Just lost.
So you just read 9, but maybe we didn't even finish it. I don't think we even read 9. So go ahead and read 9.
Okay, we're explaining who Uttar is. It's important to say this stuff.
Yes.
But now, so he's throwing this weapon at her womb.
To wipe out the heir to the Pandava's throne.
Yeah. And she's a devotee of Krishna, and she's calling out to Krishna. And by the way, you know what also drove the teacher crazy, or what drove Ashwatthama crazy, the one who threw the weapon, was he felt like my father favors Arjuna more than me. That's like a real like child issue. Like my father loves some other kid more than me. But Arjuna was just incredibly dear to Drona. And so he especially did not like Arjuna.
Okay. Good point.
Okay.
Thank you.
O Lord of Lords, Uttar is calling in great distress. O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. You know what? That would be a great mantra to learn.
I was just going to say, it's a perfect prayer there, right? For protection.
Prayer that in times of great stress or I'm going to teach this to my kids. Pahi mahayogin deva jagatpate nanyam tvat apayam pasye yatra mrityu parasparam. I'm going to learn that verse. Call when you're in great fear, great desperation. When I took the kids on a hike in this completely precarious place of cliffs and stones and rocks and caves, and I got like 6 kids and no one else, and I'm trying to put it on Instagram Live. I was like, I should have been chanting this prayer. Okay. Oh, my Lord, this is text 10. You are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you desire. But please do not let it burn my embryo. Please do this favor, my Lord. Text 11. Sutta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Sri Krishna, who is always affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of the Guru Drona, had thrown the Brahmastra, that's a special weapon given by Brahma, to finish the last life of the Pandava family, that last heir.
Terrible thing to do.
Throwing weapons at an unborn child, yeah, that's pretty bad. That's up there with bad things to do. Oh, foremost amongst the great thinkers, Munis. This is the narrating dialogue is speaking. Oh, foremost of the great thinkers, Shaunaka. Seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons.
Okay. Yeah. So we just zoomed back out, and now we're back with Sutta Goswami in the forest of Naimisharanya, where the whole Bhagavatam began, and he's speaking to Shaunaka.
He's telling the story.
Yeah.
And text 13. O Almighty, personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who are fully surrendered souls, at once took up his sudarshan disc to protect them.
So what's that disc, Raghu?
What? Oh, explain the disc?
Mm-hmm.
So Krishna, who is Vishnu, has 2 weapons he carries on him. One is a gada, or a club. That's why he is called Gadadhar, or the holder of the club, named for Vishnu. And he's also called, or he also holds this sudarshan. So the sudarshan chakra is a weapon of Vishnu. It's like a fiery wheel. It just spins around. You can whip it. What can you compare that to? So like
nothing to compare it.
Like a fiery transcendental boomerang, but it's really dangerous because it's like a spinning fiery saw blade wheel. Because it's not just fire. It's not like he's throwing fireballs. He's cutting off heads with this wheel. So you'll hear about the sudarshan chakra again and again. It appears with the avatars of Vishnu, and he can manifest it in a moment and then just throw it out.
Yeah. And so the understanding here, well, anyway, that's going to come out, but it's really in his form of Lord Vishnu. He protects Parikshit in the womb with this disc. But there's a nice, there's just a message in this verse that it says they were the unalloyed devotees, right? That Uttara, that Parikshit, that the Pandavas in general, they were unalloyed devotees who were fully surrendered souls. And therefore he at once took up the sudarshan disc to protect them. And there's just a little something from the commentary that worth reading here.
Sure.
Shall I?
Yeah, please.
It says, hear the word ananya, and I believe ananya means like without exception, like just completely.
Without stopping, I think it means.
Does it? Ananya. So here the word ananya visayatmanam is significant. Srila Prabhupada saying in his commentary, the Pandavas were % dependent on the protection of the Lord, although they were all great warriors themselves. And we were speaking about this a show or two ago. They were very powerful, but still they felt themselves dependent on God. They had the maturity and the clarity to recognize that even though we're big, we're strong, we're powerful, we can wield weapons, we've got fame, we've got power, political power, etc. What is this? I'm still just a little drop on the leaf that can just slip and slide off at any moment, right? Still, life is very precarious. And they felt themselves always dependent on the Lord. So it said, they always saw Krishna as the protector, even though they were great warriors. But the Lord neglects even the greatest warriors and also vanquishes them in no time. So even the greatest warriors, their situation is precarious. When the Lord saw that there was no time for the Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra Ashvatthama, he took up his weapon. Now, in one sense, it's like the battle seems over, but like this was kind of like the last spurt of the battle coming from Ashvatthama, right? Krishna took a vow that he wouldn't lift a weapon in this battle.
Good point.
Okay. So, but here he's picking up his weapon. So it sounds like, hey, what, he lied? He's
about to break a promise again. Krishna, naughty, liar, thief. That is your Lord?
So, yeah, he took up his weapon even at the risk of breaking his own vow. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still, according to his vow, he should not have taken up his own weapon. There's that beautiful scene where Bhishma was fighting so valiantly against Arjuna. It looked like Arjuna was, going to die. And Krishna's saying, Arjuna, you have to kill him now, kill him now. But Arjuna's love for Bhishma was like so strong. It was hard for him to do it fully. And then Krishna jumped up and he grabbed a broken, what are you laughing about? Why are you laughing at me? Are you paying attention? This is where Carla tells me
I said, kill him now, kill him now. It reminded me of that Bugs Bunny thing. Shoot him now, shoot him now. He doesn't have to shoot you now. The Daffy Duck. Is anybody? I'm sorry. You asked me why I was laughing. Shoot him now.
That's where your mind is going, huh? Okay.
I'm sorry. Those are my samskaras. I was raised on Looney Tunes.
Okay. So Bhishma, I'm going to try to bring it back to the proper level of sobriety here.
I apologize. I'm just indulging in my mushroom coffee. I'm loving it. My mushroom stew for breakfast.
Okay.
So,
Bhishma was this warrior who had this blessing, I guess you could call it, that he was able to choose his moment of death. And he had lived this long life where he was kind of maintaining all this political responsibility, and he was ready to die. And he wanted to die in two ways. He wanted to die at the hands of Arjuna. He wanted to be killed by the most noble, qualified warrior who he saw as Arjuna, who he loved like a grandson. And he wanted to be killed in the presence of Krishna, his Lord, so that he could meditate on him in his final moments. And so but but when Krishna's like, getting on Arjuna's case, you're not fighting hard enough. You're never going to kill him this way. And for Arjuna, it was so hard to do that Krishna himself jumped off the chariot, picked up a different kind of wheel, like a chariot wheel that was like lying on the ground, started running straight at Bhishma, right? And Bhishma's looking at this sight. He's never seen a more beautiful sight in his life. Krishna himself, running, full power like this, coming at him with this big wheel in his hand. And Bhishma's just like, bring it on.
Bring it on. I'm ready to die at Krishna's hand.
This is perfect. It's perfect. Just bring it on. I'm ready to go. Right, with this vision.
That's coming up in the Bhagavatam too, isn't it?
That will come up. Yeah. And so but Arjuna is like, don't break your vow. So Arjuna runs behind him and he's holding Krishna back and saying, don't break your vow. I will kill him. I swear to you, I will take care of this. So that's kind of happened previous to this, right? But here Krishna is going to break his vow again. He was willing to break his vow to protect the Pandavas on that battlefield. He's willing to do it again now. So who is this?
Here's the big question.
Yeah.
Here is your God,
a liar?
Kaustubha, supposedly representing morality and what is good and what is right and do the right thing and morality and ethics. And here he is lying, setting a lousy example.
He's doing it once. He's doing it twice.
Yeah, he's breaking his vows. He's also a notorious thief.
And what does he steal?
Butter.
Okay.
The gopis' clothing.
Yes. Anything else?
Your heart.
The hearts of his devotees. Yeah. So he's called Hari because he's always stealing. Yeah. So he continuing with this commentary, he took up his weapon, even at the risk of breaking his own vow. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still, according to his vow, he should not have taken up his own weapon. But the emergency was more important than the vow. Now, here's a big term, something worth listening. We can key in on this. He is better known, but the emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as the Bhakta-vatsala, or the lover of his devotee, and thus he preferred to continue as Bhakta-vatsala than to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his solemn vow. So we have competing interests here, right? There's the interest of, say, honesty, right? But then you have but is there a principle that's still higher? And this is something that philosophers, you can go, I suppose that you and I never went to college, but if you go take a college philosophy class, this kind of question will come up, right? Like
something higher than honesty.
Is there something higher than, is honesty the highest principle? And then, the example that's sometimes given is, you're in Nazi Germany or you're hiding some Jews in your attic or something like that. And then the SS knocks on your door. Right. Now is honesty, they say, or the Jews in the house, is what's the higher principle? Honesty now? Or, maybe compassion becomes a higher principle. So what's the higher principle in Krishna's mind, in the mind of God, we're saying? What's the higher principle? Is honesty the highest principle? Keeping your word the highest principle? That level of morality, is that the highest principle? Actually, the highest principle becomes love. Right? The love and that Krishna's heart is so soft. He feels this love for his devotees that even he becomes controlled by the devotees. Even he'll break his word. Even he'll abandon his own morality out of love for his devotees. So here he's breaking his vow. He's breaking it the second time, several times. There's many the one that always strikes me. Yeah, it's such a highlight in the Mahabharata. Now this is Uttara, who Krishna is protecting her now and protecting her child in the womb. Now Uttara's husband was named Abhimanyu. This was Arjuna's son. And the way that Arjuna's son was killed was considered completely inappropriate. What happened was Arjuna was fighting on one end of the battlefield, and his other brothers, along with his son, were on another end. And the army that they were facing created a huge formation. Phalanx. You wanted to use that one. You like that word, huh? Phalanx. And it called the Chakra Vyuha.
It's like the way they arrange in the days of when you're fighting with horses and elephants.
Yeah,
the commander would call out, "Make the eagle phalanx.
Yeah.
Make the half moon phalanx." It's just a way to arrange the troops. Right. So there was a secret one called the
Chakra Vyuha.
The Chakra Vyuha was like It was like a wheel, and,
Like a wheel.
they would all stay in the wheel, and they'd put somebody in the center.
And the Pandavas had to face that, but Yudhishthir and the generals are getting together and say, we don't really know how to deal with this. Then Arjuna's son stepped up, Abhimanyu stepped up and said, I know how to penetrate this. I've learned it from my father, who's on the other side of the battlefield. I can do this. But he says, but the problem is I know how to penetrate the wheel, but I don't know how to get back out. And Yudhishthir, his uncle, says, that's okay. If you penetrate the wheel, we'll follow in right behind you and we'll be there to protect you. Then we'll break the whole thing apart. We'll shatter this formation. But what they didn't know was there was one person named Jayadratha on the other side who had been given a benediction. Without going to the whole backstory of this, he was given a benediction that he couldn't kill the Pandavas, but that he could defeat all of the Pandavas if they're without Arjuna one time, like defeat them in battle, hold them off, in battle. So when Abhimanyu penetrated into that Chakravyuha with the promise of Yudhishthir that he would be protected, when Yudhishthir and the other Pandavas came to back him up, they were held off by this Jayadratha. They couldn't penetrate. So now Abhimanyu is alone inside the wheel formation, and he's fighting valiantly. He's fighting so powerfully. They're like, he's like Arjuna. He's equal to Arjuna. And they couldn't control him. He's causing too much damage. And they did something, the opposing forces did something that you're never supposed to do. That even within battle, the idea is that like it was meant to be fair. One person would fight another person that's on their own level. So one of them should have stepped up and fought him. But he was so powerful that 5 of the most powerful warriors, including Karna, Duryodhana, I forget who else was there, but they all ganged up on him and killed this 16-year-old boy, breaking the rules, breaking the Dharma, right? So
Interesting. There's Dharma of martial battle.
There's the Dharma of martial battle.
It's just like there's Dharma and how to be a parent. There's Dharma of martial battle.
And so that's the point that I'm bringing up now. So towards the end, the rival of Arjuna was Karna, who happened to be his own brother, although Arjuna didn't know it. And the whole battle, was going on for so long, but it was building up to this point where Arjuna has to fight Karna. And Karna is the one person, even Yudhishthira, everyone's afraid Karna might actually be able to kill Arjuna, right?
Yeah.
Krishna's afraid, in a sense.
Yeah.
Out of his love, Krishna, but Karna had been cursed. That in the most crucial moment, he would forget his mantras and his wheel.
There's too many good backstories I want to tell. I want to tell each one of these.
I know. And his wheel would get stuck in the ground, right?
In the mud.
And then you're like a sitting duck, when your chariot can't move. So in that moment where Arjuna is finally about to face Karna and the whole battle stops, everybody else stops just to watch this, right? All the warriors are watching this. And Karna's wheel gets stuck. And he's starting to get nervous, he's like, it's all happening. I forget my mantras, my wheel is stuck. And he gets down to the ground and he's trying to pull the wheel out of the ground. And then he turns to Arjuna. Karna turns to Arjuna and says, Arjuna, you are a great warrior. Right? You're a noble warrior. You always follow Dharma. Do not attack me now that I'm here outside of my chariot. You would never break that martial Dharma, right? Allow me to get my chariot back up and running again, and then let's fight one-on-one and let the better man win, right? Do not break the Dharma. And then what Krishna says at that point, Krishna says, Dharma, who are you to talk about Dharma? Where was all this talk about Dharma when Dushasana was trying to disrobe Draupadi? I didn't hear you speaking about Dharma then. Where was your talk about Dharma when Abhimanyu was being killed in the Chakravyuha? You all ganged up on him and killed him unfairly. Where was your talk about Dharma then? And like Karna's like, oh man, it's like, and Krishna knew that Arjuna couldn't kill Karna without this unfair advantage. So he said, Arjuna, kill him now. And Arjuna shoots and kills Karna, right? He killed him in a sense unfairly. But the point is that Krishna, to him, the highest principle was love. To him, he was doing whatever he could, lying, cheating, breaking his vow. His love for his devotee is so deep that he wants to feel his love so strong that he'll break any other principle for it.
By the way, this is put in an extreme situation of a battlefield, not an ordinary battle. All the warriors on both sides are all being liberated. They're already killed in one sense by Krishna. It's like a divine plan.
And again, it goes back to the Mother Earth, who was suffering because of the presence of all these demoniac rulers.
Yeah, and even when Krishna kills with the chakra, he liberates the people that he kills. It's not like me killing somebody. So it's almost hard to use this analogy, and you have to understand the absoluteness of Krishna when Krishna dies. This is not recommending going out, lying. We have to declare cheating, stealing.
We should be moral. We should be dharmic. But
Yeah.
but there's a theological point being made here, is that God's heart is moved by love.
That's
so much so that it becomes the highest principle. There you go. Bhakti is the highest principle. Love.
There we go. That is. Well, that's our show. And thanks for everybody newly joining in. We're going to try not to lose you with some of this stuff. It gets complicated, but we like to drag it back to the essence, and the essence is super sweet and important. Thanks for joining us. Hey, please, everybody on Zoom for sure, but if you're listening on Zoom, you should all go to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. It really helps our rankings, which really it's good because it gets the word out for other people. And we'd appreciate it. It's right on your iPhone. And if you like what we're doing, go to our Patreon account, join that whole community there. And it's patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. And we're going to be posting stuff constantly on that. And email Mara any questions for Question Day at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Thanks for everybody on Zoom for joining us. If you want to join Zoom, also reach out to Mara as well. Or Telegram. Yeah, by the way, if you're on Zoom but not on Telegram, if we have to cancel a live show, you can just contact Mara and she will send you out information. The Telegram is an ongoing bunch of busybodies. Jai Shri Krishna Bala. And thanks for everybody joining us late. Baru, welcome. Lauren Carmen, Vivi, Tanya, Aravind, Akiko G, Tom York, Aditi G,